Hi everyone. This is a demo for our current prototype of a chatbot that we have for the paper that we published at the AAC, a Space Conversational Agent for retrieving lessons learned and expert training. So I'll talk a little bit about the main objective and its implementation and sort of walk you and give you a bit of background information. So our main objective for the chatbot that we created is knowledge transfer between experts and non-experts. And usually the knowledge is stored in the form of lessons. In terms of the implementation, we have the front end, which is built with Rasa. The knowledge graph where we store all the lessons is built with Neo4j, and all the code is written in Python. So from our main objective, we have two sort of sub-objectives. One of them is knowledge capture, and the other one is knowledge retrieval. So for the knowledge capture, we have three subtasks that we do when we try and extract a lesson from the expert. So firstly, obviously, we extract the lesson from the expert. Once we've successfully extracted it, we parse it and extract all useful information, such as entities. So we run a few named entity recognition models in an ensemble approach together. And also we parse the lesson for any sort of definitions or terms that we have that already exist in the knowledge graph. It could potentially be mentioned in the lesson. And we create the relationships between the lesson and those existing terms, definitions, or whatever useful information the lesson could contain. And finally, we store all of that together in the knowledge graph. So I will give you a demo right now of the chatbot. So we already have the chatbot running in the background, and it's connected to a Slack front end, which should be familiar to everyone. Ignore the text that's already on the screen. That's just some testing that we did. So we could, for example, say hi to the chatbot, and the chatbot should reply back with, obviously, with hi as well, and it'll ask us what our purpose is. Obviously, as we said, we could either capture a lesson, which would be knowledge capture, or learn. In this case, we'd want to capture a lesson. And the topic, for example, could be knowledge capture. In terms of background information, we could just, for the sake of this demo, we just don't have any background information at this point. And the lesson, so I've just went and ahead and copied sort of a definition of what knowledge capture is from Google, and we're just going to pass that to the chatbot. And so right now the chatbot captured all the information it needed. So we have the topic, the background information, and the lesson so far. And it's basically giving us a confirmation message with all the stuff that it's already captured from us, and asking whether it's correct before we proceed with storing it in the knowledge graph. So obviously we can edit any of the stuff here if we wanted to. So for example, if we say no, then it would ask us which information we would like to edit. So let's say we want to edit the background. Actually, we thought of something that we might want to add. And we could say, just for the sake of the demo, this is a sample. This is sample background, for example. Okay, so as you can see, it replaced the information, and again, now it's giving us the confirmation message. Obviously, we could do that with the other information that we've already captured. But since now we're happy with everything, we could just proceed and say, yes, everything is correct. And so now the chatbot would go ahead and store everything in the knowledge graph. This usually might take a second, so we might have to wait a couple seconds for it to extract all the named entities, run all the models, and store everything in the knowledge graph, basically. Usually takes around 10-15 seconds. Okay, so right, as you can see, it said, please wait a moment, and now it has successfully captured this lesson. which is essentially what we have right now for capturing information, and yeah, worked. So going back to our presentation, so those three tasks, as we saw, we extracted the lesson, we parsed and extract all useful information, and finally we stored it in the knowledge graph. The second objective that we have for our knowledge transfer, or sort of sub-objective, is knowledge retrieval, in which case we check the knowledge graph for existing lessons on the topic, then we present them to the user, and we can answer some questions on them. And obviously, if no lessons exist, we query DBpedia for information, and then we present the lessons from there. So to show you how that works, so we captured the lesson. Let's say we want to now learn. So I'm just going to say learn about knowledge capture. Okay, so as you can see, it searched the database, and there's only one lesson it's found, which is the lesson that we just put in. Knowledge capture is the process by which knowledge, so on and so forth. So for example, let's say that was a really long lesson and we don't want to read the whole thing. We could simply just ask, what is knowledge capture? And you can see that the chatbot tells us basically it parses the lesson itself and it extracts the answer from it. We have a question answering model that's running in the background where we pass the question and the lesson itself, and the question answering model basically spits out the answer. So this is the case in which we already have a lesson in the knowledge graph, and we could just pull that and obviously present it to the user and answer some questions about it. However, in some cases, we might not have that information. So for example, if the user wanted to learn about Neil Armstrong, this is information which usually we wouldn't have in the knowledge graph. And oh, sorry about that. So this is information that usually we wouldn't have in the knowledge graph. When testing it earlier, we pulled that lesson from DBpedia and already inserted it in the knowledge graph. So we can see that we've successfully pulled we've pulled the lesson from the knowledge graph that's already stored. So again, we could ask some questions. So for example, when was he born? Again, the question answering model goes through the lesson, finds the answer and gives it to us. If we go through the lesson, we can actually see that it's correct. We can ask, when did he die, for example? August 25th. And finally, who was Neil Armstrong? So you should say something like an astronaut or an aerospace engineer, and yeah, we can see that it says it's an astronaut. So yeah, I mean that's pretty much what it is. So for example, we could do KG info. So this will probably take a second to run, but essentially what it does is it goes through a knowledge graph and pulls everything that's related to the lesson. So entities, terms, definitions, basically, yeah, any relationships that are that we have to this lesson will be pulled and should be presented to us. We just need to give it a second. It'll probably take 10-15 seconds. And as you can see, the chatbot already started printing to us terms and definitions that we have existing in the knowledge graph. So we can see we got the mission here, again, mission, Earth, and obviously we have a lot of duplicates for NASA with different versions and stuff, which is, yeah, not important at this point. And yeah, those are pretty much the main functionalities that we have. So for example, let's say we wanted to learn about something that we don't have, let's say Jordan Peterson. So currently we don't have anything that exists in the knowledge graph for Jordan Peterson. So yeah, we can see that the chatbot says that it doesn't have anything, and instead it searched GBpedia and it found this it found the abstract of the page for Jordan Peterson, and it gives it back to us. Of course, in the background, this lesson is actually parsed. All the entities and so on are extracted and stored in the knowledge graph. So again, obviously we can ask questions. I mean, I'm just gonna ask again the same question, like when was he born? And yeah, as you can see, you get the idea. We can answer some basic questions at this point. Obviously, we're planning to expand on that and improve it. And yeah, that's pretty much the demo. Those are the two use cases, currently functions that we have, which are knowledge capture and knowledge retrieval. I hope you enjoyed that demo, and yeah, thank you very much.